And welcome back to All Over the Map. Thanks for tuning in. On today's episode, we have News of the Day for February 23rd, 2022. This game is a GeoGuessr game of the five major news events of the day that, have a little bit of importance. And the purpose of the game is to show you where in the world these events are actually occurring. So let's get into this. And as always, we do this as a no time limit moving allowed challenge. And the play along link for this News of the Day game is in the description below. So let's get right into it and see where GeoGuessr takes us for the first news event of the day. And it looks like we've got an airport here. And this is actually welcome to Farnborough Airport in the United Kingdom. And what interesting thing happened here, not far away from Reading in London? Well, Elton John's private jet suffers failure at 10,000 feet and forced to make an emergency landing. This is pretty crazy. His private jet suffered hydraulic failure at 10,000 feet. Then the plane twice aborted landing on a day winds hit 80 miles an hour. Fire crews raced to Farnborough Airport. So not only do you have hydraulic failure on the airplane at 10,000 feet, but you come to land and you're faced with 80 mile an hour winds. Thought this is pretty crazy. The witness said the jet was being buffeted and couldn't land. It was horrible to see. And this happened on his way to New York for a show, I believe, at Madison Square Garden. About an hour into the trip, the aircraft suffered a hydraulic failure at 10,000 feet, and the pilot had to make a U-turn while approaching the coast of southern Ireland. He headed back to Farnborough and radioed air traffic control to declare an emergency landing. This is pretty crazy, and what makes it even crazier is not only the event emergency landing, but the plane was being buffeted by winds in terrible conditions. The aircraft nose was far too vertical. The plane was descending and halfway along the runway when it gave up trying to hit the tarmac. It then soared back in the air. The crowd had gathered after word went around that Elton was in difficulty. And as the plane came around again for a second attempt to land, the storm was doing its worst. The airport's windsock was horizontal and the aircraft was being rocked from side to side by the wind. The pilot made a valiant attempt to get the jet down, but it didn't make it and headed out. Oh my God. I mean, the third time it finally landed, but I can't imagine being in that situation. I've been on a go around before on a flight that there was a storm or some type of wind where you're about 100 feet right off of the ground and the plane revs up and you go straight up. Not a pleasant feeling, let alone a couple more times or another time after that. So, all right, Farnborough, where did this happen? So they said they went off the southern coast of Ireland. So I think Farnborough's west of London. We saw the Reading sign there. Here it is, Farnborough here. So there's Farnborough Airport. I think we're on this Sir Frank Whittle. Well, no, I think we're actually here. That little roundabout. But let's take a look just real quick at where probably Elton John's plane went. Probably went straight out this way. If we look to where it was going, transatlantic flight to New York. So it's going to go probably up this way and down. Typically, any flights from New York typically go like this with the curvature of the earth. Come down into United Kingdom. So leaving here, it might even gone this way, right? So it might have gone up this way. Interesting. I don't mind flying, but I'd have to wait to fly for that. So kudos for Elton John getting back on a flight to get to his tour destination, his Yellow Brick Road tour, whatever it's called, in Madison Square Garden, New York City. All right. Off to the next news article for the day. A beautiful city here. Probably many of you probably have never been to. I would take a wild guess that watch this And yeah, what do we have here? We've got a nice, decent city. Spanish. It is El Salvador. So this doesn't even feature that much on the GeoGuessr game because there's no Google car in El Salvador. But we've got, yeah, the city center. What's important about El Salvador? Well, El Salvador's Bitcoin bullishness has spurred a tourist boom since the country adopted it as legal tender. So here's the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. Yeah, the guy's got aviator sunglasses, a polo hat. This guy looks pretty chill, to be honest. But in any case, since El Salvador adopted Bitcoin as legal tender in September 2021, local tourism has jumped 30%. Now, as many as 60% of tourists are coming from the U.S. A lot of the crypto cronies, or whatever you would want to call it. So they've also seen a steep influx of foreign currency. So, yeah, I mean, I see this in the news seemingly every day. So I decided to put this about Bitcoin in El Salvador, and that people are going there, and that the United States isn't happy. I think some folks in Congress of the United States aren't happy that Bitcoin is legal tender, which I don't know why that should concern them. But in any case, in November, he announced a Bitcoin bond in partnership with digital asset firm Blockstream. According to Blockstream, El Salvador has already gotten $500 million in verbal commitments for the bond. One financial executive likened the crypto offering to a meme bond. El Salvador also has plans to build the world's first Bitcoin city next to a volcano, which is meant to facilitate geothermal energy for the project. It's crazy. I mean, this guy's clearly onto something here. Pretty unique. Wants to do things a little differently than most in the world, which is always a cool thing to be a little different. And the other thing, I just wanted to click on this article. There he is there without the sunglasses. Presidencia de la República El Salvador. So here's another one. He wants to grant Salvadorian citizenship to foreign investors. So he's going to send that proposal to his Congress to invest in his country vis-a-vis Bitcoin. So interesting. San Salvador, El Salvador. So if you're not familiar with El Salvador, it is this tiny little country on the western portion of this part of Central America. And here it is, San Salvador. And I think we are right in the center here at the Monument to the Divine Savior of the World. I think we're right above that. There's that McDonald's that we saw. There it says Cuscatlan. I think Cuscatlan's the name of the stadium, the football stadium where the national team plays. El Salvador likely not making the World Cup this year, but they are in the last group of 8 in this region, having played the United States to I believe that was a 1-0 loss in the United States a couple weeks ago. So El Salvador on the up and up. Beautiful city there. It's this part, at least, of San Salvador in Central America. So there we are, 10 yards, 5,000 points, and we get off to the next news article. And where are we winding up? We were winding up Baltimore, Washington, Tyson's Corner on it looks like a large highway with a easy pass lane or HOV lane. So I guess you use your little device on top of the car, and that thing right there, that white thing, this person does not have one, it doesn't seem, or maybe it's on the dash. Now, I guess they, having been on this road, I know where this is. This is south of DC. On heavy times, it could cost as much as $21 to go from on this express lane. So if you want to pay a lot of money to get there faster, well, have at it. All right, so let's take a look at this. Here we get another trucker convoy, trucker thing, or seems it's increasing around the world. Started with Canada first, but U.S. trucker convoys prompt National Guard deployment in Washington which is always interesting when you got National Guard troops that are called up ahead of trucker convoy protesting against pandemic restrictions. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin approved a request from the District of Columbia government and the U.S. Capitol Police. Roughly 700 troops will be deployed on various roads in Washington. So that's the key, in Washington. This actual location here, I believe, is in Virginia, so that would not apply here, nor would it apply in Maryland, which is across the Potomac River. But let's go read a little more. They will provide support at designated traffic posts, provide command and control, cover sustainment requirements, and then some 50 large tactical vehicles, not sure what that means, will be stationed at traffic posts 24 hours a day. They will not carry firearms or take part in law enforcement. So I guess just as maybe a show, maybe a blockage point, I don't know. One of the protest organizers, Bob Bolus, told a local Fox News TV station that his group aimed to shut down the Beltway, a highway that surrounds Washington. I'll give you an analogy of that of a giant boa constrictor that basically squeezes you, chokes you, and swallows you. That's what we're going to do to D.C. Well, I can tell you, having traveled this road many a time, it's already a boa constrictor with the traffic. Has been less since COVID and all this stuff over the past couple of years, but nonetheless, it is a brutal traffic. We'll take a look at it. The beltway that surrounds Washington, D.C. is this big thing here. It's 495 is the route number, the interstate, and it goes the whole length around the city. And especially if you're from this part of the 495 over to, well, basically, I could say now all of it, but this part here is a very congested nightmare, and so can other parts of it. But to trucks to do this is going to be, because you have to understand, folks, to get from anywhere points south up to the northeast, 95's it. I guess you could go 81, that's well out of the way, but this will shut down things, that is for sure, in this part of the world, and make a lot of people angry if they've got to get from Fairfax over to, let's say, Columbia, or from Lanham down to Springfield. It is going to be a nightmare. I don't think, though, that the trucks that would have to take for this, I guess it wouldn't be much, but nonetheless, not something, I think it's not, my personal opinion, not a great idea to do, because all you're going to do is make a lot of people angry, and yeah, that's it. So anyway, I think we're about here in Springfield on this sign here, and let's go for it. Ooh, and I was 1,700 yards off, a little south of that exit there, near the Springfield Town Center. All right, on to the next one, and we go from the United States up to Svetogorsk, where is this? Svetogorsk. Sounds Russian. Well, let's take a look. What do we have? Tervetuloa. We've got some Cyrillic here. Interesting. We got rock, but what do we have? Ooh, the sign being blocked out. Can't even see that there. But no, we are in Finland here, with a little bit of Cyrillic, which it's got to mean something, right? Got to mean something. Mansikala. And what do we have over here? This little sign. Spiders and whatnot. But let's take a look at this. And why are we in Finland? Well, Finland prepares for interruption of Russian natural gas supplies. The EU has warned Russia of energy sanctions if Russia moves forward with their attacks on Ukraine. Russia itself may also affect natural gas exports to Europe. Likely Finland's preparing for interruption. The switch to other fuel sources for heat and power plants that are partially reliant on Russian natural gas is unlikely to cause major problems in Finland, which is good. So there is a facility at Ovako's Imatra steel plant, whose furnaces are partly heated by Russian natural gas. We are closely monitoring the situation in Ukraine and exploring other options, says Anssi Ratari. Now, this is the new import pipeline, comes in handy. So natural gas enters Finland through mainly two pipelines. Russia has a direct gas pipeline to Imatra, where we're about to look, from where gas is pumped into a Finnish gas network. The other one is the Baltic Connector, which is a gas pipeline running along the bottom of the Gulf of Finland from Estonia. It was completed 2 years ago as an alternative source, which is always good to have a couple of options, especially when we're relying on either Russia or other countries. Always good to have a couple of sources. Pretty interesting architecture here, I thought. This is pretty cool. I don't know if this is a castle of some sort. Got a nice little park here, a nice little town. Home of this. What was this? This was Ovaco's steel plant here in Imatra, and we'll take a look at why this is interesting. Here's Imatra here. So there's Russia, right a couple kilometers away. And we were here, I think, in the center. I think we're right about there. So as you see, this is definitely easy to get. Obviously you want to get your natural gas from here, right? But the other pipeline comes from over here in Estonia. So always good to have two sources or more when it comes to something as important as natural gas to run your operations. All right, so there we are in Finland. Let's guess that. And we were 6 yards from the correct location. And we'll get off to the fifth and final news event of the day. And we are in the desert someplace where there's a little bit of water. And where are we here? We are actually in Jordan. What are we in Jordan for? Well, no internet there. We were in Jordan for something. There we are. Not sure what happened there, but 9,000-year-old ritual complex found in Jordan desert. This is pretty cool. Archaeologists deep in the Jordanian desert have discovered a 9,000-year-old ritualistic complex near what is thought to be the earliest known large human-built structure. The Stone Age shrine site, excavated last year, was used by a gazelle hunter and featured carved stone figures, an altar, and a miniature model of a large-scale hunting trap. This is several kilometers long, have been found in the deserts in this part of the world. This Neolithic era ritual site was discovered last October. So I thought this was pretty cool. This has a little article below. 4,500, 9,000 BC from the hunter and gatherers that this was some type of ritual site. So it was pretty cool. We're going to go and look at this. Where is this in Jordan? Well, I think it says it's east of Al Jafar, I believe. So we got to find where Al Jafar is. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I think it's out in this region. By the way, any of these news articles are linked in the description below. So if you want to read these articles in greater detail, they are in the links in the description below. So here's Al Jafar. I think this is a photosphere somewhere out here, 70 kilometers to the east. And we were 5.8 miles. That was just a random guess somewhere out there. 4,956 points for a grand total of 24,949. Those are the 5 news events that I thought were interesting of the day. If you have any news events or any topics you want me to cover on News of the Day, comment down below or send me an email at alloverthemap23@gmail.com, alloverthemap23@gmail.com, or comment, like I said, comment down below. With that said, appreciate each and every one of you that tune in and that support the channel. It means a lot. I want to continue to put out great content. So if you hit that like button, share this with your friends, or subscribe, it really helps it out. And with that said, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, cheers.